Hey guys, it's Rob from What You Don't Know, and on today's compilation we'll cover everything from the bombing of Hiroshima to the first mass-produced retail home computer. I hope you enjoyed the videos. On the 1st of August, 1894, war was officially declared between China and Japan. This war is now known as the First Sino-Japanese War. It was a conflict between the Qing dynasty of China and the Empire of Japan, primarily over the influence of Joseon Korea. The Empire of Japan, though roughly a third of the strength of the Qing dynasty, managed to be victorious when, after more than 6 months of unbroken successes by the Japanese land and naval forces and the loss of the Weihaiwei port, the Qing dynasty sued for peace in February of 1895. This led to the Treaty of Shimonoseki, where China recognized the total independence of Korea and ceded the Liaodong Peninsula, Taiwan, and Penghu Islands to Japan in perpetuity. And China was also to pay Japan 200 million taels, or 8 million kilograms of silver, which was equivalent to about 300 million yen, making the war a net profit for Japan, as their pre-war fund was reportedly 250 million yen. On August 2nd, 216 BC, the Battle of Cannae took place. It was a key engagement of the Second Punic War between the Roman Republic and Carthage. The Carthaginians and their allies, led by Hannibal, surrounded and practically annihilated a larger Roman and Italian army under the consuls Lucius Aemilius Pallas and Gaius Terentius Varro. It is regarded as one of the greatest tactical defeats in military history and one of the worst defeats in Roman history. The historian Plutarch stated 50,000 Romans fell in that battle and 4,000 were taken alive. For a brief period, the Romans were in complete disarray. Their best armies in the peninsula were destroyed, the few remnants severely demoralized, and the only remaining consul, Varro, was completely discredited. On August 3, 1977, the TRS-80 microcomputer system launched and was sold by the Tandy Corporation through their Radio Shack stores. It is one of the earliest mass-produced and mass-marketed retail home computers. The TRS-80 had a QWERTY keyboard, Zilog Z80 processor, 4 kilobytes of RAM, 64-character per-line video monitor, and a starting price of $600 equivalent to $2,700 in 2021. By 1979, the TRS-80 had the largest selection of software in the microcomputer market. Until 1982, the TRS-80 was the best-selling PC line, outselling the Apple II series by a factor of 5. The company advertised the $600 personal computer as the most important, useful, exciting electronic product of our time. Cornfield correctly hypothesized when announcing the TRS-80, this device is inevitably in the future of everyone in the civilized world in some way, now and so far ahead as anyone can think. On August 4th, 1327, Lord James Douglas of Scotland led a night raid on a British camp in Ware, England, that housed King Edward III, who was leading his first military campaign. The Scots penetrated to the center of the English camp and collapsed the king's tent with the terrified Edward III inside. The Scots were then able to successfully retreat to their camp. The night raid, which had followed a month of pillaging of the English border, was the last act by the Scots before returning to Scotland. The campaign was ruinously expensive for the English. The Dowager Queen Isabella and Earl Mortimer of March, governing England on behalf of the underage Edward III, were forced to negotiate with the Scots, and in 1328 the Treaty of Edinburgh-Northampton was signed, recognizing Robert the Bruce as King of Scotland and Scottish sovereignty. On August 5th, 1583, Sir Humphrey Gilbert claimed the lands of St. John's, Newfoundland, and the surrounding area for England under Queen Elizabeth I. Gilbert, who was an English adventurer, explorer, member of Parliament, and soldier, was also a pioneer of the English colonial empire in North America. After receiving letters patent from the Queen in 1578 to settle, fortify, and colonize North America, Gilbert made several unsuccessful journeys. Finally arriving in 1583 with the help of funding from English Catholic investors, Gilbert waved his letters patent about, and in a formal ceremony took possession of Newfoundland, including the lands 200 leagues to the north and south for the English crown. He claimed authority over the fish stations at St. John's and levied tax on the fishermen from several countries who worked this rich sea near the Grand Banks of Newfoundland. He had planned to colonize the land as England's first overseas colony, but died on his return voyage to England. On August 6, 1945, Allied forces dropped the Little Boy atomic bomb on the city of Hiroshima, Japan. After years of war, the Allies were desperate to end the conflict and decided to use the ultimate weapon to do so. The bomb, which contained 64 kilograms of uranium-235, took 44 seconds to fall from the aircraft flying about 9,400 meters to a detonation height of 580 meters above the city. The bomb, which detonated at 8:15 a.m., exploded with the force of 15,000 kilotons of TNT. The bomb was dropped by Colonel Paul W. Tibbets in the B-29 Enola Gay, named after his mother. Some 70,000 to 80,000 people, around 30% of the population of Hiroshima at the time, were killed by the blast and resultant firestorm. Another 70,000 were injured. The radius of the total destruction was about 1.6 kilometers, with resulting fires across 11 kilometers squared. Yet sadly, after all this destruction, yet another larger bomb was dropped 3 days later on Nagasaki. On August 7, 461, Roman Emperor Majorian was beheaded by his Magister Militum, Ricimer. Majorian ruled the Western Roman Empire from 457 to 461, and in a somewhat ironic twist, gained power by plotting with Ricimer against the previous emperor, Avitus. As a Germanic tribesman, Ricimer was ineligible to be emperor. In lieu of this, he hoped to rule the Western Empire as an official viceroy of the Eastern Emperor Leo. The Roman aristocracy refused to consent to this, so Ricimer chose to exert his power over the West through a puppet emperor. Majorian was declared Western Emperor after defeating an Alemanni invasion. Realizing Majorian's potential as a puppet, Ricimer supported this to Leo. Though Ricimer had expected to control his friend, Majorian proved to be a capable ruler and soon distanced himself from the Magister Militum. After learning of Majorian's defeat by Genseric of the Vandals, Ricimer led a detachment there and arrested him. This is where Majorian was beheaded on August 7th. Thank you for watching What You Don't Know. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more.